This is one of 4 videos which have been recorded on 30 November 2019, which will be released around April 2020. This video seeks to make sense of some drawings in Forrest Fenn's books and on Dale Neitzel's website, and to try and interpret what the meanings of those drawings may be. First one is from scrapbook 233, this image here of the corn, and just blowing that up a bit. The things that seem common and are seen in other images are the basically double circles or interlocking circles. So that also appears in the t-shirts produced by Dale Neitzel on his website, which refers to Got Mad Thrills, which has an image of a compass. I'll just show you that. That's the image that I'm referring to, where you have multiple circles, the top of the compass case, another circle there, that circle, plus one in the background. It also picks up from the Gypsy's drawing, where you have the double circles there, and you also have the double circles there. So there seems to be some meaning to the circles, and possibly that's an indication of a geographical feature or markings somewhere near the treasure location. Getting back to the picture of the corn, I believe the important representation is this part of the diagram, where this almost circular feature may be a representation of the island in the stream, or Treasure Island, whichever it's called, which on Google Earth is this area here. So the implications are perhaps the corn is a representation of trees or bare space on that parcel of land, and the important part may be this representation of a dragonfly, which may be incorporated in the scenery in Google Earth as one log being crossed by 2 other logs. The other important aspects are the dots around the edge of this square box, and that corn in there could possibly represent gold or the treasure. And I'll just show you on Google Earth as to what I'm referring to. The area that I think may match that representation is around here. Just use the measuring tool to indicate that. So that space there. And using the dots, there are actually 2 areas which may be of relevance. If you zoom in here, you'll find there's a series of black dots which start around here. They go up past that shadow, they continue on up there. There's a further string of dots up there. And zooming out, there's also a series of dots here in this line next to this box here. So this may be a representation of where the treasure is located, and the item inside the box may be the treasure. As I've stated in one of the other videos, the treasure may be located in the shadow of that tree. Going back to the image in scrapbook 233, the other item to note is this little representation here, which seems to stand apart from the rest of the grains of corn. I don't know if that is some means, possibly with this feature here, that there is something that stands on its own as signifying a possible location. That's my interpretation of the picture from scrapbook 233. Another drawing which may have relevance is this one here. I don't know which book it came from or what the page reference is, but you can see that this refers to a woodcutter, and there's also the white dove in the sky there, and there is a possibility that this may be referring to Hansel and Gretel, the fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm, which you can look up. And you'll find in the fairy tale there's a reference to a beautiful snow white bird, possibly similar to what is in the image. So maybe the reference to Hansel and Gretel is to leaving a trail, whether that is pebbles or breadcrumbs or something in the imagery in Google Earth which may lead you to the treasure. Another image is of the gypsies around the fire, and there's some possible interpretations there. My first impression was this part here represents a tree, as in the final location where the treasure may be within the shadow of that tree, and the dark areas here shaded may represent the treasure chest in the shade. There's also the number 6 here, which is fairly regularly used in some of these images and may be a feature in the search area. Although on further consideration, this area here where there's an angle may actually represent the chest. It's a different color to the rest of the background shading. And the other aspects are that there may be an X there, which is next to where the treasure is located. That little piece there may be representative of the tree, I'm not really sure. And the wheel doesn't seem to be a complete circle, so that may actually be another representation of the 6. And these marks here on the arms, the 2 stripes, they may actually be a representation of Death Gulch, which essentially is 2 stripes, 2 white stripes. In the biddies drawing, I believe this area here, basically behind that woman's ear, may be a representation of the treasure location, where if you zoom in there seems to be an X just there next to a 1 which may represent a tree, next to a dark line which may represent a shadow from that tree, where the shadow is hiding the location of the treasure. There also seems to be a fairly sharp angle there, so that may possibly be a representation of the treasure chest and the angles that are shown in most of those images of the chest. You also have the swirl here, which is like a figure 6, which I believe is another location near where the treasure is located. That's my theory on the biddies picture. Also in the biddies chapter there is this drawing which may also be a further representation of the treasure chest or the area where it is located. Don't worry about the red lines that I've drawn. It's this area here, and that seems to be the squarish area, and the dark lines may be indicative of shadows. Again, this angle here, which may actually represent the treasure chest. You then have the swirl with the figure 6, which may be another identifying mark near the treasure chest area. And then you have, well, looks like it might be the X up here, somewhere near the treasure area. And then you have this S shape or reverse S shape here, which may fit in with the image in Google Earth, where that marking appears in the greenish patch of grass just down there, that figure there, which is in close proximity to this square here where I believe the treasure is located. Possibly the areas that I've marked with the red arrows may be a representation of the blaze, but I can't figure those analogies out, not at this stage. The drawing of the donkey lollipop seems to have multiple meanings, and this comes from lummyfilm.com. It was a sample of Forrest Fenn's book. The items of interest are the ceiling fan here, where Forrest Fenn has related a story about a $100 bill being stuck on the fan. If you notice up there, there is the figure 9, or otherwise the 6 that I have referred to. There is also this stem, which may be referencing the shadow cast by the tree in the treasure area, and the square box, which may be a representation of the treasure chest. Also, zooming in, the two crosses on the wall, they seem to fit in with crosses in the treasure search area. This one here, which could also be an F, seems to match up with the search area and that box with the X and the tree in it. Possibly that dark patch there is referencing a shadow and where the treasure chest may be located. I will try to make sense of the t-shirts which are published, or there are links to it from Dale Neitzel's site. Just search on t-shirts and you should find a link, and I'll sort out what those t-shirts mean. This is what I see in the designs for the t-shirts from the link on Dale Neitzel's site, daleneitzel.com. This cross paddles references no paddle up your creek. I think it probably also refers to the concept of drawing lines, and where those lines intersect is fairly close to the treasure location. No place for the meek may reference the Thunderer mountain range or mountain in the search area. And zooming in, the only other points that I can reference are this image, part of the image here with this little tag, I guess you'd call it, which may be a resemblance thanks to the sharp angles, and the clasp on the treasure chest, that may be a representation of the chest being within the shadow of the tree or the bear probably. And this part here may be referencing a cross which is near the tree, near the search location, which is basically that tree there and that X there. The next t-shirt, the end is ever drawing nigh, probably just indicates a line downward to the left, as in drawing the line from the eye of the needle to Death Gulch. Moving down, the home of Brown, I couldn't find anything particularly useful in that image. Maybe I'm missing details. The next one is a classic design from years ago, 1930s I think, but I can't find anything in that of relevance to the chase. Brave and in the Wood refers to silhouettes of trees, and I think the implication is the shadows here, as in look in the shadows of the trees, and that may be an indication as to the treasure chest being hidden in the shadow of the tree in the search area, which is there. So the next one's the same. Got Mad Thrills seems to reference intersections of lines, plus also the concept of multiple circles or omegas. the skull and cross pics, I'll zoom in. I believe there are representations relevant to the chase in the image. However, I can't locate that with any certainty. The cross pics, as in joining lines or crossing lines, may be relevant. And the only other ones I can work out, there's three. There's that place there, looks like a triangle. There's this piece here, similar concept, and they're turning side on. That if you turn that 90 degrees anti-clockwise, you might find that's a representation of a chest. However, I can't correlate the other concepts. That may be the X there, but again, there is nothing clearly coming up on that image. In the Dig Deep design, there is a few points of interest. Firstly, at the bottom of the image, you'll find there's numbers. There's a 5 there, or that could be a large 3. Then there's another 3 there. There's a 5 down there. There's a 5 down there, and there's also a 6 there. The other part which is of interest is on the man's trousers, this X here, which seems to be bordered by a square, and that may be relevant to where the final treasure location is. Perhaps this part of the belt is meant to represent a shadow where the chest is hidden behind that shadow. Possibly these lines here, which may be a diamond shape. Possibly that's a representation of the chest, but it is hard to make out with any certainty. And the final t-shirt design, I can't make out what the meaning of the structure of the states is. However, the only thing I will mention is with New Mexico, if you look at the final search area, you've got the X marking the spot, you have an I representing the lone tree, you have a C as in the heading of the treasure map, the thrill of the chase, with the highlighted C, where C also means look and may actually have other meanings, and C may actually mean treasure chest. So if you take those out, you then have me, which is ME, which is Forrest Fenn. You have the O, which is used in the omegas, and also the representation of gold as a circumpunct with the dot in the middle. And what that leaves is new, as in the poem, where the poem refers to hint of riches new and old. So that's basically all of New Mexico used in the puzzle or the treasure chase in trying to find the location of the treasure. Anyway, that's the best interpretation I can come up with for the drawings in Forrest Fenn's The Thrill of the Chase. You can accept it or reject it as you see fit. These seem to fit in as confirmations for my solution, my solve, for where the treasure is located. As I have stated before, I am not a searcher, and I will not be going to the treasure location. It is for others to locate the treasure. Anyway, good luck with your search, and please stay safe and be aware of the weather conditions in the search area.